Welcome back to the C-Space studio with me, James Kotecki. We're here at CES 2026 and very excited to be joined by MasterCard's Executive Vice President of Commerce Media and Innovation, Nili Klenoff. Nili, welcome to the C-Space studio.
You. Great to be here.
Okay, so commerce media. First of all, can we define some of these terms? So what is your purview as talking about commerce media?
Commerce media in general is where you've got brands connecting with consumers across publishing environments where you're using first-party data ultimately to be able to personalize those insights and the content that's being shown to them and ultimately measure the results.
So what's exciting there in the world of commerce media these days at the beginning here of 2026?
Well, for me personally, we launched MasterCard Commerce Media, which is our commerce media solution, back in October of this year. It is a channel where advertisers can reach consumers with personalized content across a private network of publishers. And so we are really excited to build on the momentum that we've created. Trust and connection, super important in an AI-led world, and that's what we're all about.
Tell me about some of the data that you're able to bring to bear in that situation.
Yeah, listen, it's a core part of our value proposition. We see roughly 160 billion transactions that cross our network, and so we're able to leverage the insights from those transactions to be able to identify the right audience for the right piece of content and really hyper-personalized, right? It's one-to-one targeting, right message to the right consumer at the right time.
Yeah, and then how does that work in terms of like privacy and opt-in, opt-out, all those kind of things? Like as a consumer, what's your message to how they're being treated in that process?
That's a really great question. So all of our data is consented. Consumers opt in, they can opt out at any time. And so that's first and foremost, the principle at play, but we've got a bunch of other kind of data privacy and responsibility practices that are really woven into everything that we do. Privacy by design, our privacy teams are embedded with our teams from the moment of kind of ideation all the way through to execution. The tech itself, we've got kind of layers of technology that are protecting the data from a storage standpoint, from a security standpoint, even kind of when we're actually in real time using it to personalize the content. And then overall, we've got data responsibility practices at play that we use, everything from minimizing the data, control, the consumer's always in control of their data, transparency. They can always understand how and when their data is being utilized. Inclusion, our algorithms are always being tested for bias, really. So it's really woven into the fabric of everything that we do and really part of our brand promise.
But if I decide to opt in and go for everything as a consumer, what are some of the experiences that I'm able to have? What are some of as a consumer, what am I experiencing if I am opting into all this?
So as I said before, this shows up to consumers across a network of publishers who are participating in our platform and ultimately are doing that through a connection to our proprietary technology. And so the whole idea is to meet the consumers where they are. We know consumers are interacting now everywhere, right, across platforms, devices, channels, environments. Brands need to be able to reach consumers, right, where those touch points are happening, where those interactions are happening. So you could be in your bank app, you could be in your airline experience, you could be at a retailer, you could be in an agentic environment. These are all the types of publishers that are participating in our network. And for you, it's seamless, right? We are using, again, the insights, your individual spending patterns to be able to target the right message to you. And that could be a digital ad, it could also be a well-timed incentive, right? A discount or an offer for a particular brand that either you've tried before, or maybe that brand wants to drive increased frequency and recency with you, so they have the opportunity to do that.
I mean, in many ways, we are the sum of our experiences. And so when my wife and I are like reviewing our credit card statement every month, it's like, oh yeah, we went to that fun restaurant or we did this fun thing. And it's like, yeah, when you think about all those transactions and you weave all that together, you can get a pretty good picture of who someone is, right?
Who somebody is, and again, I want to kind of bring it back to, again, what the brand's objectives are, right? We sit down, we work with brands to try to understand what is it that you want to do. Do you want to increase reach? Do you want to kind of reach new cohorts of consumers? Do you want to get them to, transact with you more frequently? Do you want to target lapsed consumers, right? And so that's how we're leveraging a lot of the insights that we can see to help them ultimately achieve whatever those business imperatives are.
Are there things that some brands maybe don't understand about commerce media? Is there pieces of education that you find yourself doing?
There's a few things. So I'd highlight a few. We touched on a couple, but I'll kind of just go back to them. First and foremost, it's just the power of that data, right? Yeah. The billions of transactions across our network, and being able to put that data to use to personalize content, but also close the loop on the attribution. Yeah. It's online and it's in store, and most transactions are still happening in store, so that's super powerful. The scale, the reach, we have got 500 million consumers already connected through our participating publishers. That number is growing. Brands can reach those consumers, and it's not just kind of in local markets, it's across the globe, because we're able to reach those consumers with the right message when they're traveling abroad. And obviously we have the insights to be able to do that and know kind of what those destinations are and when those moments are happening. And then the last is the proprietary tech itself, right? We've got our card linking technology, which allows us to link the incentives, the discounts directly to the cards, the transactions, so you can really provide that closed loop attribution. Okay. And then the targeting is one-to-one, right? It is, our brands can kind of identify the audiences, but at the end of the day, when it shows up to the consumer, we can see the consumer, and we are able to actually pick the right message for that individual consumer at the right time.
And how do brands react to this? I mean, is it like closing a gap between what they have had and what they actually needed all along?
Absolutely, right? I mean, again, you think about what brands are looking for. They're looking for scale, they're looking for increased reach, they're looking for efficacious marketing channels, and ultimately to be able to demonstrate the outcomes, tied back to their marketing activities. It's not just about chasing impressions, right? It's about actually delivering results. And I think that's really where we come in, which is really in the outcomes that we can drive, and really kind of, best in class outcomes, because of the insights and the tech and the scale that we have to be able to understand who the consumer is, what is the right piece of content to put in front of them at this moment, and then ultimately demonstrate not just the result, but the incrementality on top of that, right? That this sale wouldn't have happened if it weren't for this particular piece of content going in front of the consumer.
And then do you give brands advice on how to create, or do you have advice for brands on how to create advertising content that feels native and natural to the consumer experience?
Yeah, everything we do is native, it's embedded. Again, I go back to the private marketplace of connected publishers. They're connected in through our proprietary technology. And so the creative itself is actually kind of integrated, embedded into the experience itself. It's seamless. It's also multi-channel, right? It could be in a web, it could be in the app, it could be in an email, it could be in a statement, it could be through the wallet channel, right? We're kind of continuing to expand those touch points, those ways to distribute the content to the consumer. When it's seamless, when it's consistent, that's what creates that value, and that's what keeps the consumers interacting and ultimately delivers the value back to the brands.
Do you spend much time in your world thinking about the fact that many credit card transactions do not actually involve someone taking out a physical card? I mean, even in a physical store where you're saying most purchases still take place, I'm often taking out, maybe it's my phone to do the transaction. You can easily imagine a world where biometrics play a role. So it's really just kind of about linking it to me as a human. It's less about the card per se. And then of course online, all those things are happening. So do you think about that a lot in terms of how you're thinking about the future?
Absolutely, right? Again, consumers are interacting everywhere, and it's across many different devices and form factors in terms of the instrument that's being used to perform the payment. I think for us, those are all just signals that we can use to enhance the purchase signals. Yeah. They're more data points that help us, again, resolve back to the individual consumer, understand their preferences, and ultimately help the brands be able to target the right messages to those consumers based on the aggregation of all that data.
Almost out of time, but I want to ask you one big picture question. Is there some kind of fundamental change that you sense in the wind for 2026?
I mean, it's kind of obvious, but agentic is obviously everywhere. I think the thing that I would highlight is we're going to very quickly see this shift from agent as the point of discovery to agents as autonomously performing buying on behalf of customers. And you can imagine a world where these agents are negotiating discounts on your behalf, maybe applying loyalty points, right? They're kind of going well beyond, right, even what we're imagining in terms of actually just making and executing the purchase itself. And so I think it's just really important for brands to work with partners, right, to ensure that they are relevant and present in those moments as we shift from discovery to purchase.
And my gosh, questions about trust, questions about privacy and personalization, all those are just tenfold, if not more, in a world where the agent is out there on my behalf. I hope it's doing the right thing on my behalf, but it's got my credit card, so I need to make sure that it is.
That's right. And listen, that's why MasterCard is at the forefront, right, of the work in this space. Our brand is synonymous with trust, right? That is decades of safeguarding transactions and preventing fraud and cybersecurity risks. So, we are hopefully a partner of choice.
Nili Klenoff, MasterCard, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. So great to be here.
And it's so great to have you with us here all morning in the C-Space studio. We have been talking to marketing, media, and advertising leaders, and it's time for us, as still very human people, to take a quick break. But we are going to have an afternoon session starting at 1 p.m. with more conversations, more incredible guests. So please, wherever you are seeing this live, come back here in about an hour at 1 p.m. California time, Pacific time, and we'll see you there. I'm James Kotecki, your host for the C-Space studio at CES 2026.